Happy Friday! This is Elaine Doucette-Zena. I am the host of Evoke Strong Live, and you are watching another episode of Featured Friday Conversations. This is where I feature the stories of incredible women and their transformation. We talk about the process of change in terms of nutrition, of physical activity, sleep, and stress. I think stress is a big factor, and I think those four factors are really interrelated into affecting or impacting your overall health. I share the stories with the hope that you will be inspired and empowered to start your own journey towards health and improving your overall quality of life. And my guest is all the way from Canada, and I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. Let's see here. There she is. Welcome, Jessica Mitton.
Hi everyone.
All the way. Hi, thank you for being here. Like I said, Jessica is all the way from Canada. She lives in St. John's, Newfoundland. That's right. And
Newfoundland.
And I'm just going to quickly go ahead and read your bio here. You're a certified holistic nutritional consultant and also a culinary nutrition expert, and you believe in a holistic approach taking into consideration the body, mind, and spirit, which I love. You're fascinated by the healing potential of natural whole food and how it can be used to help individuals improve their overall health and quality of life. Now, Jessica's been featured in the Academy of Culinary Nutrition's From Scratch Cookbooks 2016 through 2018, and she's also a former recipe contributor to Co-op Atlantic. She's given presentations and demonstrations at high schools and numerous public events, also been featured in a bunch of magazines, Optimize, All Crow, and Co-op, Dish magazines, and also, I think this is all radio, right? CBC, Exploring Mind and Body, and VOB Radio. Jessica is also the author of Some Good Cookbook, which will be available in June next month through Breakwater Books. Congratulations on that book, by the way. And
thanks so much.
Yeah, and welcome. I'm so happy to finally get a chance to talk to you about your story. And usually you like to start going all the way back before you were even a culinary nutrition expert or anything that deals with nutrition. I like to go back to your life before that and how it was, how your lifestyle was. And if you could just, let's start with that.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks again, Elaine, for having me. I actually used to work in banking before I found nutrition. And while I was there, I started to have a lot of digestive issues, so a lot of bloating, gas. I was constantly constipated. I was very stressed, had a lot of anxiety, and soon developed a lot of hormonal issues. So I had cysts in my breasts, and I had a really big fibroid as well. So it was about the size of a honeydew melon, so it made me look about 4 months pregnant. So things were getting a little scary, but the fibroid didn't come until a little later. But before I found nutrition, my eating habits were not great. I ate a lot of sugar. I was eating a lot of, refined foods, restaurants, takeouts. I was not getting enough water in my diet. I was not getting enough fiber or nutrient-dense food. So my body was really depleted. And that's why I started to notice these symptoms. I wasn't getting enough water or fiber, so I couldn't have regular bowel movements. I was very bloated. I was very gassy. And the excess sugar and my body not being able to digest foods properly really contributed to a lot of the health issues that I had. It was very, a very uncomfortable time for me, and I really started to get fed up at where my body was going. I had extra 40 pounds on, so I was very uncomfortable. And I just got fed up. So I started to look to nutrition to overcome my health issues.
Right. And this was back in your 20s, you said?
Yeah, so it would have been, I'm trying to think now, timeline, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
That's not.
So, it was not like a long, long time ago, but, enough for time to pass so my health could improve.
Yeah.
And I've noticed drastic improvements just by the foods that I eat, a change in my belief system, my mindset, and, just managing stress made a big difference with that. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy how food can affect us. It's just absolutely amazing.
Right.
The beneficial properties food has. And I think we take that for granted sometimes. So that's what I try to do now, is promote healthy eating and living, so I can help others, with their health concerns.
Right. And I think, you're doing that because of your own experience. And if I want to go back to when you said you had the fibroids, what did when you talked to your doctors about it, did they give you a clue as to what may have caused it, or did you figure it out yourself that, after you've gone through your schooling and, you probably was like, oh, maybe this was because I was, not like eating all of this bad foods. And could it be related to that, or how do you get fibroid? I'm not even sure.
So with the fibroids, it's actually interesting how I found out that I had them, because I was going to my medical doctor for years, complaining of different hormonal symptoms, and things just didn't feel right. And, I was getting like lumpy breasts, and I was constipated, and, getting a lot of, menstrual pains.
Right.
And just having a hard time during that lovely time of month that us women have. Mm-hmm. And every time I'd go to my doctor, she would always say that it's normal for this to happen. Take some medication, some Advil, or something to reduce the pain. And it's never really got to the root cause of what was going on. Right. So before I started looking into my hormonal issues, I decided to look at removing gluten from my diet, because I was having a lot of digestive upset. Mm-hmm. I was very bloated, very gassy, having a lot of cramping and pain. And I know that my aunts actually removed gluten from their diet and found a lot of relief, and they had similar symptoms. So I thought, okay, I was really fed up. I said, why don't I just give this a go, see if I, find any relief from this. It can't hurt just to try it. So I removed gluten, and I probably found relief, in a few weeks. I didn't have those digestive issues anymore. Within 2 months, I lost 17 pounds.
Wow.
And I didn't really change, a lot with my exercise regime. And I didn't do a lot at that time in my life. Maybe just walking and some gentle exercises. And I couldn't believe it. I lost 17 pounds just by removing gluten. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, there's got to be something more to this, and, different foods and how they affect our bodies.
Right.
So I went to a naturopathic doctor because I literally knew nothing about food, how it affects us, or, the benefits of different foods and their properties. So I needed some guidance. I was really lost, and I went to the naturopathic doctor, and she actually examined me, and I told her about my hormonal issues, my digestive issues, and she immediately asked, have you been checked for fibroids?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I told her about my experience with my doctor, and she said, okay, I'm going to send you back, and you're going to request an ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I had a scan, and I had a massive fibroid
Wow.
in my uterus.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had to go to my naturopathic doctor to get resolution, because I wasn't getting that support, because they do help you with different things, but I was really able to get the help I need when I went the natural route. And so once I found that out, my health was really, deteriorating. I was becoming very weak, because I was losing a lot of blood, during that lovely time of month. And I was very fatigued. The fibroid was pressing on other organs, so my bladder. I was going to the bathroom like every 5 minutes. It had a really negative effect on my quality of life. And so it got too bad that I did have to get surgery, because I was just losing, too much blood, and the energy. I just wasn't able to function from day to day. So after I had the surgery, my body still was in imbalance, and I really needed to look at an approach where I could do that naturally, because I seen the benefits of the gluten coming out and how the naturopathic doctor helped me. So I did my training at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. I actually started by signing up for a workshop there, and I absolutely loved it. And I said, okay, I'm going to do the whole program. And it was mostly for personal reasons. I really never thought that I would become a nutritional consultant and be helping others. It was more at that time just to, figure out what was going on and how I could help myself get through these difficult times. So I did the program, and I was actually able to balance my hormones with different foods I was eating. I had a cyst in my breast, and that actually disappeared within 3 months by eating the right foods. And, I incorporated seed cycling, which helps balance your hormones, so your estrogen and your progesterone. And I was monitored by a doctor, because my family, a lot of my mother and my grandmother, they both had breast cancer, and they both had to get mastectomies. So it was very scary that pattern was in my family. And I really wanted to, eliminate any of these things happening to me. And kind of get ahead of it before things got worse. So I was able to do that with the food that I ate and the lifestyle habits that I incorporated in my life. So it was quite the journey, but and it wasn't like easy either the whole time. I mean, it takes time, and learning about new ways of living, it can be stressful, but in the long run, it really helps you benefit your body and mind. So, it was crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, it's very powerful, and I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through surgery to get rid of the fibroid, and I guess, it was more than that. You said you had a hysterectomy, which is kind of it's serious, right? It's a serious process. What's interesting is I was just listening to a podcast it's the JJ Virgin podcast, and she was interviewing another, I think she was Canadian too, Melissa Ramos, and she was talking about fibroids and how you had the same, kind of like the same experience as yours. And and I guess there's ways that you can I guess decrease the size of the fibroid through what you were saying. I mean, through like proper nutrition, and part of it she was talking about stress as well. So you said that changes aren't easy. I want to go into that further. I want to see what
Mm-hmm.
kind of like exactly how you made the changes. Like, what was your process like? Did
Mm-hmm.
you and you said you went to school, so that's probably that's part of the process. But did you consistently see a naturopathic doctor? Did you have a coach? Did you have a mentor? Who was your support while you were going through these changes? Because it's not easy to do it on your own.
Oh, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, when you're going from the total opposite of the way you live,
Mm-hmm.
it really affects, even your confidence and self-esteem, because what you thought was working wasn't, and you really got to change your belief system and what you think is right for you. And I think that was a huge shift for me. I didn't really pay attention to understanding my beliefs and how they affected me. And so when like I said before, I started with the gluten. I just tried it, see what happened. That was the starting point for me. And then I went on to, I seen the naturopathic doctor. So she was very supportive throughout my whole journey. I went in to speak with her when I needed to, get that extra guidance. She put me on a really good protocol to get started, because this was new to me at the time. I had no idea what I was getting myself into and how hard it may be or what was involved. So she actually played a really important part in my journey. As well as my husband. My husband was very supportive of, my journey and the changes that I was making. And he was actually going through a similar change in his life with different things at the time. So we were kind of there for one another. Mm-hmm. And just the people that I, interacted with throughout my journey. So when I was going to school, I met people that were on a similar journey, or or just like at different workshops or gatherings, just being surrounded by people who are, in that health and wellness field were motivating and inspiring to, go further and learn more and, try to find the best way I could help myself, with food and, healthy lifestyle habits. So yeah, it was a combination of a few things, family support, my naturopathic doctor, my peers, just people that I looked up to, in the industry were very motivating as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely important to have that support system.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So let's talk about food. So you took out gluten. What were the other types? Did you have some type of elimination diet where you have to figure out what you're sensitive to, or mm-hmm. how did that go for you?
So I didn't actually do a strict elimination diet in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But as I kept meeting with my naturopathic doctor, she actually had a book that she was selling at her clinic. Mm-hmm. And it was all about eating whole foods, avoiding gluten, dairy, and refined sugar. Mm-hmm. And there was a program in it. So it was like a 4-week program that you could do. And I did the program, and I couldn't believe how much better I felt. Mm-hmm. I thought gluten was like magnificent when I took that out of my diet. Right. But then the other foods, and just focusing on whole foods and cooking from scratch, and just, really getting those nutrient dense, fiber rich foods and increasing my water intake. I couldn't believe the difference it was having on my energy. My weight gain kind of eliminated, and I was able to manage my weight much better. My stress levels started to, reduce, because I felt better. I was nourishing my body with the foods that I needed. Mm-hmm. And even I used to get really bad headaches, and I didn't get that anymore. So I started to see all these symptoms disappear just by, switching my diet or eliminating a few foods. Right. And it was amazing. So at that time, I, said, okay, I'm doing this program. I think I'm going to start helping others. And there was a point throughout the program that I said, okay, I'm going to start my business at the end of this and see how I can help other people. And it's life changing. It really is. Not just from, that physical, eating your food, but also from a mindfulness, stress reduction component as well. You really feel 100% better. Overall, it's amazing. Yeah.
Sorry, you were cut off.
Elaine, I think you paused on me there.
Yeah, I think you were frozen for a second too. But you're good now. Can you hear me?
Oh, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying poor connection, but I think I can hear you better now. Yeah, definitely. When you mention water, and it's so important. I think we forget that. I mean, I do the same as well, where I just don't think about drinking water. I need to have, like a bottle in front of me to do it, or I make sure I take in at least 16 ounces of water right when I get up. Just get that big cup of water before I even drink my coffee. So yeah, I make a deal with myself. Like if I don't drink this water, I can't have my coffee, because it's so important. It's so important.
Definitely.
So you said that, right after you made changes to your, the way you're eating, noticed, your health, some health improvements. How long did that take? I know you said with the gluten, it was a few weeks?
Couple weeks, like for the digestive issues.
Right.
So it kind of varied because I had a lot of things going on, a lot of health issues going on.
Yeah.
So the digestive stuff, like I did when I cut out the gluten, I noticed like in the first 2 weeks that bloating and gas kind of eliminated. But for the hormonal issues, it did take a little bit longer because our hormones are stubborn and they like to be difficult if they're not in balance. So with the breast cysts, it took, up to 3 months to really see that go. But that's expected with hormones. They do take a longer time to balance out. And then the stress levels, they kind of, they were reducing kind of as I went through the whole process. I think once I started to see that my health issues were subsiding and I didn't have those, negative effects going on in my body, then my stress levels came down. So I didn't have to worry about my health issues.
Right.
And my anxiety came down because I wasn't feeling anxious because I was getting the right foods in my diet. I actually went to see a nutritionist too, I forgot, and she helped me get control of my anxiety with some really key nutrients. And it was amazing because I know in the past, like years ago, I would take medication for that. And I didn't want to go that route because I found all these benefits through the natural foods. So I went to a nutritionist who really focused on anxiety and mental illness, and she put me on some really great supplements, and I couldn't believe it. It was life-changing. So yeah, it's just crazy when you start to look at the foods that we eat and the nutrients in them and how they can affect our bodies and what happens if we become depleted. It's amazing the difference we can see in our bodies when we're eating the right foods. And it's different for everyone too. I mean, we all have our own body, our own nutrient needs, because we have different things going on. And I always say, it's the diet for you and not for, whole population, because we do have those different needs and we have different things going on. So it's really about finding out what it is that your body needs, so you can thrive.
Exactly. I think everybody has their own, I guess, like the way your body processes different nutrients. And speaking of, nutrient deficiencies, what is the typical deficiency for like hormonal imbalances? that you learned? Can you talk about that?
Well, a lot of times with the hormonal balance, it's usually the estrogen and progesterone that's out of balance. And there's usually too much estrogen in the body. So lots of times it builds up in our body, so we need to, make sure we're eliminating that extra estrogen properly, or else it's just going to stay in our body tissues. Or we're consuming different beverages or storing our food in different containers that can actually increase that estrogen in our body. So it could be, the plastics that we store our food in. It could be the tin linings of cans. So these can all increase our estrogen. And if we're not eating the right foods to help detoxify our body, so some really key ones are calcium D-gluconate and indole-3-carbinol. And these are really important for supporting your liver and, detoxifying those excess estrogens in your body. And supporting my liver was a really big, component of, naturally balancing my hormones. I was doing castor oil packs on my liver as well. So this really helped reduce the inflammation, and just eating those right foods. So the cruciferous vegetables, so they contain those nutrients that help detoxify the liver, and increasing my fiber and water so I can get the junk out, which is very important because we don't want that to stay and reabsorb.
Right.
So it was kind of a combination of a few different things, and more of too much of a certain hormone in the body that was causing the issues that really, caused those symptoms that I was having. But with the anxiety, I found out that, I could have really used a good oil. So lecithin was something that I used. And when I, consumed that, I was really, it just really made me so much calmer, and I wasn't so, anxious, and my chest wasn't like, bouncing. I felt so much calmer. So, it's going to depend on, different nutrients, and what's going on with your body, and, what ones you should include or where you're deficient. And that's where it comes back to, again, the right diet for you, for, eliminating or bringing back those nutrient-rich foods to avoid the depletion.
Right. Before you became the culinary nutrition expert, so that's about cooking food, right? Did you cook, did you cook food before? Like, were you preparing your own food beforehand, or did you feel like cooking?
I do, actually, and I always did. Actually, when I left high school, I applied to go to a culinary nutrition school in PEI, which is another Canadian province, and I backed out. I
Maybe
didn't go
that
to
was
that.
your destiny.
It was a sign, right? I just gravitated right back to what I was supposed to do.
Right.
But yeah, so I backed out and I went to university instead, and I got my business degree. And it's helped me, definitely, my business degree, set up my business and things. But I think I was really meant to cook. Yeah. So I found the culinary or Academy of Culinary Nutrition program. So Megan Telpner, she is the founder of that program, and it's all online. And she really zones in on, getting the nutrition, so combining nutrition and cooking. So you're learning about the benefits of foods, how to prepare them, and combining different foods. And it was such an amazing program. It really helped me develop recipes for my blog, as well as my upcoming cookbook coming out in June. So I'm good. So yeah, it was just a great experience and a really good tribe to be part of as well. The community in that, with that school is so amazing. Everyone's very supportive. of each other and encouraging of whatever it is that you're doing, and just helping people along, whether they're going through a health issue or not. It's just good to have that support, and the community there is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're able to do that, and it's funny that it's like it's the first thing that you really wanted to do, and somehow along the way you change your mind, but then you're back to where you.
I'm back to it. It was meant to be, right?
Yeah, where you're meant to be. So let's talk about your biggest challenges, any setbacks while you were going through this change. What do you think? What was your biggest challenge while you were going through those changes in your life?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing starting out was really trying to, where get the information, just, going from one lifestyle to a different lifestyle, and just knowing what to do. It can become very overwhelming if you don't have that support or guidance, and just being eager to want to do all of it at once.
Yeah.
Which I was, because I was fed up and I seen something that was actually making me feel better, and I'm like, okay, let's get it all in. And I don't know if it did me any good, but I learned to calm down eventually and take it baby steps. But yeah, it was good to have that support around to help with that, and know where to turn to get the right information. And definitely, I think the surgery had a big effect as well. I was just starting my nutrition journey, and to be told that I had to get surgery, it was kind of conflicting to what I believed. But in that point of time in my life, I wasn't in a good place, and my body was not responding well. So I really needed to get that. So that was hard to get through, but, you get past those things, you work through it, and you know that you can help yourself with different foods and that going forward. So that's really what helped me get through that, knowing that I can really make a difference going forward with my health, and, knowing the resources that I can go to. So, yeah, those would be my two biggest challenges, just not knowing where to turn, and the surgery for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, the surgery would definitely be one big challenge. But it's also what's made you really just go full force towards knowing exactly what's going on in your body and how you want to just make a change so that you won't have to have any other surgeries. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask about, the stress factor. Was that from your job with you said you were, you started out in the business, financial industry. Was part of your stress because of your job, or was it because of your health? I wasn't quite.
I think it was a combination of both. So my job caused a little bit of stress, my health, and then also, I had a little bit of stress making that transition as well, because your identity of what you knew kind of got lost along the way, and you're trying to find out what it is you're believing in going forward.
Right.
So there was a stress around that, but building up to it, it would be mostly from my health and my job. And, just feeling comfortable in my body, cause things were not working out that great. So yeah, it's, there's a lot of different factors, but those would be my main two for sure.
When did you make the decision to transition out of the financial industry and then into, becoming a nutritionist?
That would have been 2015.
Okay.
So, 2015. I'm trying to make sure that's the right date, but yeah, that's it. 2015. So it wasn't long ago. But I was, reading and reading and reading throughout my, career in business, in banking. And, I was actually going to school, part-time while I was working full-time as well. So my passion just switched completely, and I felt the need to, help others because I seen those improvements in myself. So, and I've, just being surrounded with other people and hearing their stories as well, to know that you can make a difference and help people, that really resonated with me, and I wanted to share that with the world. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
To help
I think
others.
think it's definitely powerful. We go through this. I think we're in no way. I think we're meant to go through this experiences so that we can share it with a lot of other people, and get them to maybe do the same in terms of health. I think some of us like I had some issues with nearing pre-diabetes, and had to make changes in my own
oh wow.
Diet, and just the way I handle stress and make sure I'm getting enough sleep, because my glucose levels were just higher than I expected them to be. So that's part of my story, and I figure, if I made these changes and that it affected me in a positive way, there's other people out there who've done the same thing, and I think it's important to share them. So yeah. I want to talk more about what you're currently doing now, and let's go into your book. I made this. Let's see here. Here it is. I have a cover of your book, right next to your face right now. If you want to talk about it real quick, what is it? What type of recipes do you have in it, and where can we find it?
Yeah. So the cookbook's called Some Good, and it's a modern Newfoundland cookbook. So the cuisine here in Newfoundland can be delicious, but not the healthiest. So a lot of times we'll, deep fry the fish, or use refined flours in, the berry baked good, or we're frying a lot and using rancid oil. So I really wanted to transform the Newfoundland traditional dishes and make them a little healthier, because there's a lot of good foods that are used in the recipes. Yeah. So everything from the berries and the fish, and we have an abundance of local foods here that we have access to. But if we prepare them in those rancid oils and, refined flours, they're not going to be that healthy. So I really wanted to transform those recipes, make them a little healthier, and just use some of the ingredients around the province to inspire me to create new recipes. So that's what the cookbook is all about: transforming traditional Newfoundland cuisine and making them nutritious and delicious. And so the cookbook's going to be out June 27th. And you can purchase it on Amazon.ca and .com. It's for pre-order now, actually. And you can also get it at Barnes & Noble and Chapters Indigo here in Canada. So it's available US and Canada. And so it's very exciting. It's I've had it in my mind for quite some time now, a few years, and really started working on it seriously the past 2 years. And it's just great to see it come to life. I'm actually going through the design process right now, and it's so cool to see everything come together, and see it in, these really beautiful formats, and with the photography. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I can't wait till I see that final product. It's going to be so great, and I hope it inspires others. There's actually an educational component in it as well. So talking about gluten, dairy, and refined sugars, and providing alternatives for people. So lots of great info in there as well as recipes. Yeah.
Well, the cover is beautiful. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah.
Yeah, I had some amazing people work on it. Becky Peckham, she took the photos. She's amazing. And then I had the designer at Breakwater Books. She created it, and I also had a little guidance from a friend, Heather. Because I have no idea about design, and I needed a few pointers on trying to express what it is I wanted. So she was very helpful with that. Yeah.
With regards to, I hope I'm saying this, Newfoundland, is it Newfoundland?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland cuisine. What's how different is it with the compared to to American cuisine?
It's not. I mean, it's not completely different. You're still gonna find those foods in other places. So we are surrounded by the fishery here. Yeah. So there's a lot of fish, and there's a lot of babies. Oh, I think you froze for a bit there.
You just froze there for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah. So you said being surrounded by fisheries. So you I'm assuming there's a lot of seafood.
A lot of seafood, a lot of fresh fish, and just the, there's so many berries around here as well, local berries that you can just go out and forage.
Wow.
It's so beautiful and the abundance of food that we have access to. I've added some vegetarian options in there as well for people. One of the local meats here is a moose. And, you have to get that wild. So there's no antibiotics, no growth hormones. It's completely natural. So you're not getting, really bad meats infused with these antibiotics and hormones that can affect our health. So there's so many great foods, and that's really what the book focuses on. But you can find the ingredients, outside, or make those substitutions with the recipes as well. I've actually created a community called the Some Good Community on Facebook. So it supports the cookbook, as well as if anyone has questions about substitutions or, just trying to find healthier options. This is a great place where people can do that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. You've done so much for your own community and the release of this cookbook. I think it's going to be fantastic. We've been talking for almost 45 minutes now. I want to respect your time. I just want to ask one more question.
Sure.
What would be your advice to someone who's still kind of like on the fence about change? How would you inspire or empower them to make a change?
To take baby steps. Definitely take baby steps. Start with one thing and really, look into that, see how it may be beneficial, and, go slow with it. I know for myself, it took me a complete year to really get a handle of what it is I was doing, and finding a lot of different benefits combined. So it does take time, so patience is super important. And just finding those mentors around you, or going to a holistic nutritional consultant or a naturopathic doctor. These are excellent ways to get the support you need and to guide you slowly so you're not overwhelmed with all the information, because there's a lot of information, and it can become very overwhelming. But if you take those baby steps, you'll learn new habits, and they will stick over time because you're getting used to a new way of eating or living. So, yeah.
Jessica, thanks again for spending this time with us. Those are great advice. Baby steps, patience, and definitely surrounding yourself with a community who will support you and who knows how to guide you in the right direction. Yeah, so thanks again, and I wish you the best and good luck with the release of your book. It's going to be exciting.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me, Elaine. It's been great chatting with you and sharing my story. And I hope people, find some inspiration or motivation from it to go forward. So thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, definitely. To the audience, to the viewers, thank you so much for coming on and viewing with us. If you're watching the replay later, just do a hashtag replay in the comments so I know that you were watching the replay. And hopefully you were able to get at least 1 point of inspiration that you can apply towards your life and put into action. And again, this is Elaine Doucette-Zena. I am the host of Evoke Strong Life. We are here to awaken your inner spark so you can become the best version of you. Till next time, thank you and have a happy weekend. Bye.